This documentary touched me deeply, and it moved me, and it was very eye-opening. I'm going to be talking about Tantura in this video and sharing my takeaways, my review of that documentary, so that you can decide whether it's something that you want to watch. Invest the time. I think it's about an hour and a half, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about an hour and a half long. It is about the Nakba that happened in 1947, 48-ish, pre-Israel, pre-IDF, right? The forces that went in there and drove the Palestinians violently from their homes, from their villages, from their towns, from their place they had lived for a long time. And my understanding is upwards of 700,000 of them, which is unbelievably mind-boggling, were driven from their land to make room for new Israelis, right? This is a prime example of what Ronald Reagan talked about. Governments don't solve problems, they create them. I still think about that message to this day. Even though he said it back in the 80s, everything I see going on in the world, I just think about it over and over and over again. I don't want to dive too deeply into the political things that surrounded the state of Israel coming into being. But as you know, there was the Balfour Declaration. As you know, the Rothschild family was intricately involved in that. I think it was basically a deal where they said, hey, we want this land for our business reasons and or a deeper nefarious reason. I think they told this to the British government and said, hey, we want you to give us this land. That's my assessment, because I know that governments work for private central bankers and corporations and billionaire philanthropists. They don't really work for we the people. Just looking at what happened during the Nakba and the 76 years since, it's been a total shit show over there. So much pain and suffering has been caused from that even if the government was thinking they're doing it for the right reasons, how do you get it that wrong, that bad? Reminds me of the COVID response, but that's a topic for another video. So let's dive in here. Tantura. Overall, it was about a small village in Palestine that, again, was part of the takeover. Pre-IDF forces rolled in and did some heinous crimes there, unalived a lot of people, and worse, maiming, murder, etc. It was the brainchild of this gentleman named Teddy Katz, an Israeli, right? He said in the documentary that what happened in Tantura, again, this happened a lot all around that area, it was not only hushed up, but it was destroyed. There was clear evidence that he discovered that they wanted to erase this from history. Now, you got to ask yourself, if you're doing things on the up and up, right? If you're doing something good, why so much cover up? Why didn't we learn about this in public education here in the States? I never heard about it. I'd never heard about the Nakba. Honestly, I never knew, and this is partially on me, but again, you got to question the system. I never really even knew much about Israel. I didn't know that it was only started in 1947. Like, I didn't know that it hadn't been there that long. I call it a fake state. I call it a fake state because things the government and their banking friends do, I don't think are real. They always are going to push an agenda and they're going to try to whitewash it. But as we know, looking back through history, it's always fake, right? They snow the American people. They snow the world, but the American people were snowed, I think, big time here. In the documentary, there's a line that's hit me pretty hard. It says, you take a state by force, right? Again, the violent expulsion of over 700,000 Palestinians. And then all we hear is, the most moral army in the world. And it's almost like it was a godsend that the state of Israel came into being, when it's complete and total bullshit, right? It's just like every other conquering. And I would have a lot more respect for Israel if they would have just said, hey, we're taking your shit. What are you going to do about it? At least then all cards are on the table. Why the whitewashing? Why the Hasbara? Why the media machine? Why The Occupation of the American Mind, which I'm going to review right after this video. That's another fantastic documentary. If you're an American, I highly recommend you checking it out because I'm going to summarize that documentary for you. We've been played. We've been snowed real hard here in America. We have been deceived and lied to about what's been going on over there in Israel. And a lot of Americans, some Americans, pose the question, why should I care about what's going on in Israel? Well, you should care because there are events unfolding in our world. Those events had to do with Iraq. Those events had to do with Libya. They had to do with Syria, and they're now having to do with Iran. We are all connected. There's some evil, bad mofos in the world right now, and if you're an American thinking that it's not affecting you or it doesn't affect you or won't affect you, I really recommend you reconsider that and watch The Occupation of the American Mind, Tantura, The Mystery of Israel at stopworldcontrol.com/Israel. There's a lot of information coming out about it now. I mean, you kind of have to be deliberately avoiding it. Jake Shields is exposing a lot of it. Dan Bilzerian's exposing a lot of it. Heck, even Pierce Morgan is exposing a lot of it, which I don't understand because he's mainstream media. But there's a lot going on right now, and it most definitely affects everyone on planet Earth, especially America. Evil doesn't care who it drives from the land. Evil has an agenda, and they don't care whether you're white, black, Asian, European, American. They don't care about that. Once you understand what the agenda is here, it's super dark and super evil. I believe it involves a totalitarian one world GOV. But, I could be wrong, but that's where I'm at now. P.S., by the way, a lot of this information, including a lot of these documentaries, including Tantura and Occupation of the American Mind, etc., are available in a guide that I created called the Great Awakening Guide. You can pick it up at greatawakeningguide.com. There may be a link below this video if you watch it when I have the description on there, or you can find the link at my Instagram at gmarkphillips. There's a link to that page there, but it's live links to all these documentaries, including a number of articles, books. It's a whole resource, PDF resource. It's in version 4, I believe, so you can get up to speed very quickly, including the 3 most important documentaries for a quick start, right? I recommend watching all of them, but if you don't have a lot of time and you want to get up to speed very quickly, watch All Wars Are Bankers' Wars, watch Everything is a Rich Man's Trick. That's about 3 hours plus. And then, of course, The Mystery of Israel at stopworldcontrol.com/Israel. Those 3 documentaries will get you up to speed. Heck, All Wars Are Bankers' Wars will do it right there. Again, what were the Rothschilds? They are a banking family, right? If all wars are bankers' wars, and if Smedley D. Butler, one of the most respected Marines of the early 1900s, I think he's still talked about in the Marine Corps, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that recently. If he said war is a racket, what is a racket? Well, it's a con, it's a scam. And then if he said he was a gangster for capitalism, it doesn't take long, and if I can do it, anyone can do it, to connect the dots about what's been going on in our world. Ken O'Keefe said it. I love what he said. He said, the financial system is the head of the snake. The financial system drives politics. This is why, if you've been paying attention, nothing that the politicians have been doing, at least for the last 70, 80 years, probably much longer, really much longer, ever is in the ultimate best interest of the American people. It's always in the interest of the bankers. Who got bailed out in 2008? Well, Wall Street got bailed out in 2008. Main Street get bailed out? No, it didn't. Who got money in the COVID crisis? Well, large corporations, pharmaceutical companies got money. And also they got what I feel to be an unimaginable gift that they shouldn't have gotten. That is immunity from litigation if there was something to go wrong. And then the government turns around and mandates that shit. I mean, my mind is blown about the stupidity of what happened over the last handful of years with COVID, and of course, going back all the way. But anyway, go pick up that guide if you want some more information about these documentaries. One woman in the movie, she was living in that village. She said she was 18 or 20, I believe at the time, and she says there is no tragedy like Tantura. And you will see that when you watch that movie. It's super sad. Um, One of the soldiers, because they had footage of the soldiers. They're all older now, of course, and they're basically talking very candidly about what they did in Tantura. He said, "I didn't take captives. I murdered them." At least be upfront about it. Don't try to hide it and pretend like you're some, moral, upstanding country and or army. A Tantura resident who was a boy then saw the bodies of his brother and father on a cart. Can you even imagine that? I just can't even imagine that. All because some banker made a deal with a politician. My understanding is that the state of Israel was created for business reasons, right? Think oil and gas, think diamonds, think other business opportunities there, use your imagination. Again, it's not difficult to do that. And or strategic location, let's be real. So Teddy Katz, the maker of this movie, and his family started getting death threats, and even though he's a Jewish person, it's wild. Ben Gurion apparently told the forces, when they were taking Tantura and other places in Palestine, to make the villagers flee. The order from Ben Gurion was drive the people out. See, that's one of the tactics they used, is terrorism type tactics, because they knew, and they're very, I think it was Weil. I forget his first name. I should know this. I want to say Rick Weil, maybe. That might not be right. I think he's an American pastor. He said, and he nailed it, they are cunning and ruthless. He was speaking about Mossad, but in general, the pre-IDF soldiers and IDF and Israeli soldiers are cunning and ruthless, right? They're super, super, I call them savage. If they can drive the people out with terror, why not? And also in the movie, a main overarching theme was this idea that Israel wants to be perceived as the most moral army in the world. And they go to great lengths, hence why I recommend you watch The Occupation of the American Mind. They go to great lengths to push that perception out into the world. Again, you can watch this on YouTube on the channel called Saud, Saud, Alhasani, Saad Al-Sanhi channel, documentary Tantura Massacre Full. That's the full title right there. I'll probably be sharing out some clips if I get around to it on my social media at GMarkPhillips. There are some good ones here. And let me share this quote with you right here. This was fantastic because as they were looking at the scene that had clearly been tampered with, once they let, I guess, media in there, this person said, but the truth has its own power. The power of truth cannot be hidden. And when it's hot, it surfaces and more people ask questions. And I thought that was fantastic because you can see what goes down if you look with an investigative eye and an inquisitive eye. Heck, you can find out the truth if you just take a while to listen to what people are saying. Norman Finkelstein, again, Jewish person, Jewish journalist, author, writer. He speaks out vocally about what's happening in Israel and the atrocities against the Palestinian people. Miko Peled, another fantastic resource. His father was a general in the Israeli army, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, Chris Hedges, he's very vocal about it, former New York Times journalist. There's another guy, I want to say Max Blumenthal, if I'm not mistaken. He's very vocal about it. Another Jewish person, Israeli, possibly Israeli, if I'm not mistaken. Many people are starting to wake up to what's going on over there and the implications for people living all around the world and also here in the United States. Abby Martin, she's another great resource. She did the documentary called Gaza Fights for Freedom. I haven't fully seen that one yet, just clips. But she said something, and I'll end the video right here. And she said, I'm speaking to Americans like you and I are in the heart of the empire. If anyone has an opportunity and a chance at stopping all of this BS, then it's us, right? I don't think the people in Gaza have an opportunity. They're too busy fighting for food and water and electricity and gas. They got bigger problems on their plate This is why I've pretty much made it, my front and center mission right now to stop all these problems that the US has created. I wasn't aware of things in Iraq at the time. I wasn't aware of things going down in Libya, the atrocities and crimes against humanity that my country, I don't claim the country. I live physically here, but I don't claim them. They're super sketchy to me. The leaders of the country that I live in were doing in Libya and Iraq in the name of freedom and democracy, which is really protecting business interests again. See, so if you don't want to be lied to anymore, I urge you to check out Tantura. Look into what happened in Iraq. Saddam Hussein was going to sell his oil for gold. So was Muammar Gaddafi. It just happened coincidentally that shortly after they made that declaration, or made that apparently clear, that the U.S. had to go in and bring freedom and democracy to those countries. Use your own imagination about why that may have happened. I appreciate you very much for watching. Also, I want to remind you, you can check out One Life, which is the system that I created for winning the life that you want and knowing your purpose. Because right now, more than ever, it's vitally important that all human beings on planet Earth do their purpose, know themselves, know the truth, know the talent that God gave them so they can use that talent to help make the world a better place. There's some evil people doing some bad things in the world. It's okay because we're going to get past it. But there's an incredible opportunity for people who know themselves and who know their talent and use that talent to build a heaven on earth type of experience and be part of the solution. So I hope you'll check it out at thisismyonelife.com. It's the system that I use to run my media business, which you're watching right now, and create the Focus and Flow product and apparel line at focusandflow.co, and all the other books and things that I've created. Also, if you want the heart, it's the heart of One Life, which is how to find your mission in life. You can pick that up if you subscribe to my email list at gmarkphillips.com/subscribe. It's like 41 questions, ideas, insights into helping you find your mission in life. Again, your mission is the thing that you came here to do that lights you up in the best possible way, makes you come alive. You feel super in alignment then. It's also Mihail, and I never use his last name because I can't say it starts with a C. He wrote the book called Flow, and he talked about when you're in a flow state, time kind of stands still. The mind becomes very focused and quiet, and things just naturally move forward in the best possible way. So again, it's all tied into knowing your mission in life. Again, you can pick that up at gmarkphillips.com/subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Go check out Tantura if you have an opportunity. Again, we're all in this together, and I mean it when I say this. The government says it for other reasons, for propaganda purposes. I say it for the real reason, the true reason, and that is that no one is free until everyone is free, and no one is safe until everyone is safe, until all people in Gaza are safe, until all people in the West Bank are safe, until all people in Iraq and Libya and Yemen, and I don't know much about Congo, but it's on my list to dive into there. I hear a lot about it. Anywhere people are being oppressed and terrorized and unalived, that's a problem for all of humanity, because if the people that are doing that to them will do it to them, they'll do it to anyone. It's just business. It's not personal. So I hope you'll check it out and raise your level of awareness. Please share this video with someone who you think might find value in it, and I will talk to you in the next one. Have an awesome day. All the best, health, wealth, and success. Bye-bye.